stuck even though you're doing everything right. You're not invisible because you're underqualified. You're invisible because your brand isn't working as hard as you are. Because no matter how much content you push out, how many referrals you rely on, or how polished your website looks, if your brand isn't positioned for power, you'll always feel like the best kept secret. So, hi, I am Ray Lind. Women service based owners who are tired of being overlooked hire me as their brand extraordinary strategist. I've got the solution to turn hidden authority into a brand that books itself. And this month, I have challenged myself to go live 5 days a week, no matter how unhinged. And my golly, it's already starting to be unhinged. We'll blame it on the full moon. But I'm going to be going live on both YouTube and TikTok. And I will have multiple cameras circling my unhinged behavior as we proceed. So, in this video, I am breaking down how to shift from being brilliant but overlooked to becoming the obvious choice for champagne clientele without chasing, grinding, or, you guessed it, shrinking. So, most successful women I meet that are consultants or service based providers aren't stuck because they lack experience. They're stuck because their brand hasn't caught up to their genius. If your brand doesn't whisper exclusivity before you say a word, you're not being underpaid, you're being underestimated. And that gap between who you are and how you're perceived, that's where the frustration, and let's be very honest with ourselves, the loss of revenue lives. Your next level doesn't need another marketing hack. It needs alignment, not just in what you post, but in how your presence is felt. Champagne clients don't scroll for potential. They don't give a damn about your potential. They invest in resonance, in brands that signal confidence, clarity, and command. So, when your brand finally starts to reflect the transformation that you deliver, you stop pitching and you start magnetizing. So let's break this down with the 3 Luxe shifts that turn your brand into the boldest sales strategy. Shift 1, we need to speak to the right internet rooms. A lot of us are not doing this correctly. We're going to talk about how we can actually do that in a way that starts to shift how people perceive you. Shift number 2 is we need messaging that feels premium. I cannot tell you how many website audits I have done, and that is the number one call out that I have for most women. And then shift number 3, we're going to position to command investment. You want people to invest in what you're offering because you are going to help them get to the next level. And if we cannot show that through our messaging and speaking in the right rooms, then there was no point in us doing it in the first place. So, ready to go from underbranded to unforgettable? Let's dive in. So, the first thing is speaking to the right digital rooms. The biggest problem that I see is if you're constantly justifying your value, you're in the wrong room. How many times have you hopped onto a call and people are like, but how much is it? And they're like, oh, that's too much. Or, ooh, I have to go ask my husband. Or, I don't know that that's in the budget right now. It's because we are either A, not speaking in the right room, or we are not associating it the correct way, which we will talk about when we get to number 2, messaging. So, visibility isn't enough. Visibility with resonance is what sells. So, I want you to think of creating a velvet rope type of experience where you get to let people in and they get to work with you from that standpoint, like they're in a VIP line at a club, instead of being the person who is like swinging around a sign on the side of the street with a megaphone being like, pizza's $10 tonight. We don't want to be that person. None of us do. So, what you're going to do is you're going to make 3 lists. You're going to literally sit down and make 3 lists to really start to be visible in those rooms. And hi, everybody who's joined. Going live on both YouTube and TikTok, so I will respond to things later. But you're going to make 3 lists. You're going to make lists of past clients. You're going to make a list of the top 10 influencers in your niche of both micro and full influencers. We're looking for folks who have more than 50,000 followers, or if it's under 50,000, they are getting lots of comments and people are engaging and interacting with them. And then we're going to look at our referral contacts, those people who they may not have bought from you, but they're the first person to say, you are the best and you should work with this person. Then for 1 hour a day, during your business days, I believe in taking weekends off. Everybody deserves a break. But then for 1 hour a day, either you comment on your favorite social channel. We do not need to be everywhere if we don't want to be everywhere. Like, we need some sleep, y'all. But you are going to comment on those three lists, and you are going to start commenting. And it's important because it shows similar audiences that you have thought leadership in your genius zone. So a lot of us are sitting here building content, and then people aren't coming to our content, and we're like all up in arms because, oh, the algorithm. Stop making excuses. Social media was designed to be social. That is literally its point and purpose. And so you have got to go out there and be social and start to show that your stuff is worth following in the comments that you are leaving. And I'm not talking about making comments that are like, "Oh, hey, this was a great post. Good job." None of that shit. Cut it out. You need to leave comments that A, reflect back what you read, and B, show that you also have expertise in this space or how you come and think about that thought process. Those are going to be the kind of comments that grow your following. And I can say that because I did it all last week intentionally for this video, and I raised my LinkedIn followers by 222 people in the span of 5 business days. So it does work. You just have to be intentional about it. And it's not just anyone, it's those who are going to be able to make a difference in your business. Point 2, design that feels premium. So if you're constantly justifying your value, like, we've got to stop that. But also, if you have a gorgeous website and it's not converting, I got news for you. It's not about being pretty. It's about talking the right way in the right order based on psychology. So, messaging and design should reinforce your authority, not replace it. Okay, I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. Messaging and design should reinforce your authority, not replace it. So, a Chanel dress can't fix messy energy. All right. A Louis handbag cannot fix messy energy. Matter of fact, if you can't get your messy together, probably shouldn't be holding that handbag. Your visuals need to mirror your value. Alrighty. So what you're going to do is you're going to go and you're going to audit your homepage. And you can do this hard way, and I'm going to explain the hard way, or you can just honestly skip that part and I have this free tool that is called the Champagne Brand Check. And you can take screenshots of your website. You can pop it in there. It will analyze it, and it will go through all these steps I'm about to go through right now. So when these lives are done, I will put it in the comments. Bear with me. I can only text so much, but what you're going to do first is you're going to look at that banner headline, that part that is at the top of your website. If it still says, "Hi, my name is Anna," sorry, all the Annas out there, we're going to knock those shenanigans off because nobody cares. I love you, but nobody really cares. What they do care about is if you can very clearly speak to what is it that they fantasize about or what is it that they fear. And we have to make that very concise, because if you can start to tap into that emotional part of their brain, then they're going to keep scrolling. And when they keep scrolling, what we want to do next is we want to light a spark. We want to show them that we understand their problem better than they do. Okay. So we're either going to poke at that fear, or we're going to start to up level that dream of that fantasy that they hold. Then we are going to pull it into the fact that we understand them. And when we start to show that we understand them, we're going to paint the picture of what they're experiencing and what life will look like after they experience that. And then from there, we're going to anchor that into truth. So that means testimonials. If you don't have testimonials, go find some really great statistics. There's a whole internet out there to your disposal to reinforce what you say is true. But we have to anchor it in truth, because there are people who are super logical thinkers, and we can create a dream, but we also need to prove that that dream is attainable and or that the problem is real. And then after we've done those 4 things first, then we can extend an invitation for them to come work with us to fix and solve that problem or to make that dream come true. Now, it has to do with the words that you use. It also has to do with the pictures that you use. People take in visuals 60,000 times faster, 60,000 times faster than then we see the written word. Okay. And when we take in things 60,000 times faster visually, like a stop sign, a lot of us don't even see the word stop anymore. We see the color red in an octagon. We know we need to stop moving. Okay. We take that in 60,000 times faster. So it's important that we write in the framework that I just shared, in that flute framework. And then we get our pictures to match it. So it's telling one cohesive story. And that is how we start to design and message in a way that feels premium. So if you want that champagne brand check, stick around. I will definitely put it in the first comment for everybody. So you can just take screenshots and start to see where your messaging isn't in alignment. But that's going to be one of the best things you can do after you start to comment on other people's stuff and really start to build that community around you. And then the last thing I promised we would talk about is position to command investment. Okay. So many of us are undercharging. We are not valuing our packages to prove our worth. So if you're still priced like you're in the proving phase, we need to knock that off. Hi, I'm the person who provingly believes we should all get paid what we're worth. So champagne clients, they pay for certainty, not potential. They do not care about your potential. They care that you can get them the results that they want, that they need. All right. So you're not a secret menu item anymore, ladies. None of that. You're also just not creating McDonald's menus anymore. Knock it off. We are here to show that we are instantly the premium choice. We are tasting menus. We are taking people on a journey and they're paying a big fat check at the end of it and they're going to love it. That's what we're doing. So we do this by really reviewing our offer stack. How is stuff set up now today? Are you hopping on free discovery calls? And then are you giving them a free proposal where we spend all this time telling them how great we are and barely talk about their problem, but say it costs XYZ at the end? But you can choose, we can like scratch things out if you don't like it. Or is it built for elevation and obligation that they have to take that step in order to get to where they want to go? And I'm here to tell you, I hope all of you are like, I want the second one. Because if you want the second one, that's where we need to take this. So instead of piecemealing things and spending all these times on projects, you need to build a signature offer that solves a high stakes problem for people who are ready to pay for peace, not piecemeal. And when you're doing your outreach, the messaging should only lead to the first step of that solution. Okay. The first step to my solution is I do video audits of people's brands. I will go through the entire thing and I will go top to bottom and I will literally tell you in real time what is working, what is not working. And if that makes sense from that point forward, then I will invite the folks to the next step. And that's when we talk about the next step, which is typically going into a strategy session. Okay. And we call those brainstorms, because I want to know that I can truly solve the problem that you have, and you need to test out that I can solve the problem that you have. That is fair, but all of us are getting something for that. There are no free proposals over here. There are no discovery calls. You either buy the video audit because you know there's things that you need to fix, and I prove that I can fix them. That is what we're doing. Alrighty? Because what we need to stop doing is start leaving all these little puzzle pieces around for all of these folks, being like, yeah, if you put that puzzle piece here and you put this puzzle piece here, and I wrote about this back in 2016, so put that puzzle piece here, and now you know what I do. Yeah, nobody cares. You need to fully hand them a done puzzle. And you need to make it easy for them by saying, this is the first step to your puzzle, and I'm going to solve it for you. And when we can do that, we position to command investment, because then they fully see and understand that you understand their problem better than they do. And when you're writing messaging that creates confusion, when you confuse, you lose. And that is just a fact. So we've got to get very clear in our messaging and our design. We need to become very clear by speaking to the right digital rooms and commenting on the right types of posts that bring us in our ideal champagne clients. Because those are the three things that are going to start to shift things for you and move you in the right direction to building a brand that makes it so you are constantly bringing in dream dollars. You're no longer leaking dream dollars. And it is going to help you stop blending in. Okay. So if this has shifted something for you, it is time to stop blending in and really starting to command dream dollars for by having champagne clientele. So if you're interested, go ahead, book your Bermuda brand breakthrough. That's that video audit I was sharing about a little bit ago. I will also drop that down in the comments after this. It is a Luxe invite only diagnostic where I decode exactly why your current brand isn't closing the deals you deserve and what to do about it. This isn't a generic audit. I promise you, you will see this face and watch me go through your stuff in real time. It's the start of your $1,000,000 reintroduction. So I will get the link in here. TikTok folks, I will try my best because this is totally new to me. And for my YouTube friends, I will very easily be able to do that here momentarily when I start this lovely editing process. But I only take a few per week. So if you are interested, I've got about the bandwidth right now during football season to do 3. My little one plays football and I help run that football league. So I love you, but my baby comes first. And if you're building a brand that gets paid for being iconic, not busy, make sure that you hit subscribe. Make sure you're following me on all the channels. I will also pop those in there. But you're not building a business, you're building a legacy. And for those of you who sat through this very first live with me, I love you all to pieces. I can't even believe that even more than one person showed up. So I'm so grateful. And I will see you guys tomorrow when we do this again, because like I said, I'm going to go 5 days a week going live on both TikTok and YouTube. And we're going to make it happen because we're capable of doing hard things. All right. Bye, y'all. I wish I was AI.
Project.
I just think it's so funny.
not gay. Number 1, being over 6 feet.
Yes, ladies, this is gonna have your built-in bra.
What are you doing up there? Looking for other boys to...
Why isn't that working? Do I also need to? All right. Give me just a beat.